Hangovers. Sub homies. I wasn't even supposed to be here. I was supposed to be playing golf with my boy JC and the Almanac Trader today. I haven't slept since 2:20 last night. My wife wakes me up in a frantic panic. Something's wrong with the toilet. Why would I care at 2:20 in the morning? Can't I fix it tomorrow? Oh, the girls are downstairs. There's puke. People are blah, blah, blah. So my daughter had some friends over. I guess they were experimenting. Just to look at the combination of stuff they drank. White Claws, wine coolers, and shots of flavored vodka. It's just, you're asking for trouble right there. First of all, if you're under 21, you shouldn't be doing shots. Just have yourself a beer. Anyway. But here's the best part. I'm hungover. I was shot. Didn't get any sleep. Cleaning up vomit. Plunging toilets at 2 in the morning. I don't know what the hell it was. I don't know. I guess the plunging got me excited. I couldn't go back to sleep. Next thing you know, it's 5:30. I'm trying to force myself to sleep. It's 3 hours later. I'm hallucinating. I figured I'd just get up and watch the market. So even I can't be more exhausted right now. I wasn't going to trade anything. And I was like, all right, let's just watch. So the job numbers come out, market's in an uptrend, and here we go. But then you actually double topped. And then the Qs broke the VWAP, and we shorted the Qs. It's like hangover medicine, the VWAP. Because sometimes it's just, even if you're hungover, depressed, frustrated, don't know how to trade, do know how to trade, expecting something, not expecting something, when something like that happens, press the button. Q short. Didn't really follow through too much because the market's never going down anymore, ever. But then you just go back and check my list. Check my list, people. There's a reason I built a hedge fund around those 20 names. They are a microcosm of every stock you want to trade ever for the rest of your life. And I'm talking about Carvana. There's a reason these stocks are good. And there's a reason that we still trade them almost every day. Like HE, how you doing? Not going out of business, not liable for the fires. They're not going to shut down Hawaiian Electric. Just like PCG, didn't we learn? Even though PCG did burn down California, they wouldn't let it go out of business because who else wants that job? Nobody wants that job. HE wasn't going anywhere, and they own the banks. They have some sort of connection to the banks. None of that matters, right? What matters is that you could come in, put the computer on, and treat it like a casino, do what you got to do, hungover, depressed, confused, hallucinating. Just concentrate enough to press the button when the blue line breaks. And if you haven't watched what Carvana has done over the last 6 weeks, this has all been bullish. My Carvana friends. Now, I know some of you guys ran it, held it from that 12.50. Most of us were in the 20s, the $20 calls. You did $20, $30 call spreads, which were terrible because we got called out. Then we got into the $50 calls, and now we're in the 85s for January. And you know what I'm thinking? I'm going to have to buy more. Yeah. January 85s, still only $4. It's very expensive, but it's a way to be in the stock for $4. The only thing is, I only think the stock's going to go to 97. So I don't know if I want to buy something cheaper on a pullback because that's what I'm looking at. But anyway, I'm talking out of my ass right now because the real special part of Carvana is every time it dips under 40, take a look at what happens. It tries to break down. It breaks a recent low, and that's when the rally begins. And then they try to get it below 40. It breaks a recent low, and then it's when the rally begins. They are trying to trap shorts in the name. And this consolidation for 6 weeks is still in the weekly July 17th candle. So right now you're in that big candle, chopping in there. You're inside the candle for 6 weeks. Once you come out of that weekly candle, the stock might legitimately go to $97.15. And if it breaks down from 36, I think it's 36.20, then it's over. It'll probably go right back to 25 and then 20, and then maybe inevitably does go out of business. But damn, that stock is a lot of fun to trade. And sometimes it's frustrating. Like today, I had to hold it for quite some time. I top ticked it at 51.85, went back down almost to the point where I was going to sell it at 51, held, rallies back, breaks over the 52. I get excited. Next thing you know, I'm not letting it go back down the second time, and I sold out of it at 51.90. Kind of a waste, right? Because I top ticked it, almost lost a point, wound up making 15 cents, better than losing the point. But the point is, then it went down, and it went below where you thought it was going to go, broke the VWAP, and then just like Carvana has been doing for the last 6 weeks, every time it looks like it's going to go down, they trap the shorts, and then it starts to reverse. Don't take my word for it. I'm going to show you how you can make more money on the internet. Just call this number, 1-800-ITS-TECHNIQUE. Sound like an infomercial guy going on right here. But this Carvana, everything about it, even though it hasn't done anything for 6 weeks, it's super duper bullish. The shorts can't even stay in there for more than a day or two. They can't even stay in there for more than a half a day. They are getting trapped. And as a shorter and ex-president of the perma bear movement, I know how the shorts think. We never want to give up on Carvana. We're going to show Carvana who's boss. We're going to load up on that thing again. And when it crashes back to 5, we're going to make all our money back. That's the short attitude. They never want to give up until they're forced out. That's why you get the squeezes. So right now, everybody that's reloading on Carvana up here in the 50s, when they're wrong again, that's going to be the fuel for the next 40 points higher. It's going to be sick. But sicker than that, look at my list every day. Look where CDLX is now. We had to buy that stock back. I haven't put it back in the portfolio because I don't have a portfolio right now. But my stocks are being bought on dips. That's why we bought them in the first place, because they were coming out of massive downtrends. Those downtrends aren't there anymore. RIG. Yeah, Josh Brown topped it out for about what's going on, like 4 weeks now, 5 weeks maybe. But every dip in RIG has been a buy. Everything's under accumulation right now. Whether September is a bad month or not, that's par for the course, as they say. September is notoriously a bad month. So is August. And we had it. The Bears had it. And they couldn't follow through. Will they follow through in September? Maybe. But you know now specifically where the level. You guys know about Affirm, right? I gave that one to you 2 days ago. We're actually swing trading the stock. We're looking for 22.75. I just saw it hit new highs. There it goes. These are now lotto plays that we had on today. These are 20, 30 baggers if you took them 3 days ago. Again, they were just suggestions. I'm not in the Affirm. I didn't buy the 20. I did a 1950-21 call spread. So right now I had to reload for next week because I do like the stock. But the real great play was not the call spread, because that capped the gain at 21. But you could have bought the $21 calls as the lotto play for 6 cents a couple of days ago. We had sold it for 11, 10, and 11 to hedge the 1950. Then it pulled back. That became the lotto play. Anyway, what I'm trying to say here is, if you concentrate on 12 stocks, or for me, I have a really hardcore list of 20 stocks that I trade every day. And then you'll have the earnings reports, the hardcore 20 list, and then stocks that are in the news. You don't need anything else. You don't need scanners looking for ideas, the trade ideas. I once had a scanner that I was working with a company because they wanted me to promote their scanners. And no matter how many times I tweaked the scanner, it just kept spitting out ideas relentlessly, relentlessly. Who needs that many ideas? Who trades that much in one day? We're just human beings. Nobody needs that many ideas in one day. Scanners are worthless. They tip you off to a lot that's going on, but you can't participate in all that. So instead, take the scanner and bring it down to its more basic nature. What is a scanner looking for? It's looking for some sort of setup that you think works, and it looks to scan that. We we know what works, and we know what stocks to focus on. We don't need scanners. The scanners for us is just are searching those same stocks for the setup. And that's it. That's all you need. Once you have one scanner, you don't need scanners, right? I've been using the same scanner since 1998. Yeah, still works to this day. The same scanner. And I've been using the same chart. Yeah, since 2011. Haven't even changed it. So, this idea of, again, you do have to ebb and flow with the market and understand the environment. But if you're tweaking and changing and changing and tweaking and changing, you're doing it wrong because obviously what you have doesn't work as well as you thought. What I do hasn't changed and it won't change because we trade price and price and then price and then price and then price and then price. And then if this price, then that price and VWAP and then more price and then price and then VWAP and VWAP and then price and then price. And when I'm saying price and VWAP, remember, once you're over the VWAP, there's not much more you can do. Okay, your VWAP's broke. You're on the right side of the trade. Then you got to go look at prior price. It's not even moving averages for me. I don't care about MAs or 65 this or 50 that or 200A that. The reason I said Carvana was going to 58.07 is because that's the exact price it hit about a year and a half ago when it rallied. So the algorithms who only focus on price, that's why VWAP is great because the market is running on one big algorithm. Please tell me you know that by now. So if you're only focusing on price and only using VWAP, there's really not much more you need. You certainly don't need scanners, right? Trade ideas. There's a million of these scan companies out there. I was the one I was going to use $600 a month for a scanner. And no matter how many times I just want stocks that are underneath the VWAP at 945. And no matter what I did, it was just spitting out thousands and thousands of things. And it served no purpose. I was like, I'm not going to pay for this. Because while I'm watching the scanner, I could probably just look at Carvana. Hey, Carvana's breaking VWAP. Buy it. You don't need that many ideas. And if you own more than 7 or 8 stocks, you're borderline insane. How many stocks do you need to own? Unless you're a fund manager and that's what you do, just buy the Qs. Did you see? I found the link. I don't know if I showed it to you, but the study that came out since 1990 to 2020, 1990 to 2022, 65,000 stocks were analyzed. 2.5% of the 65,000 accounted for basically the majority of 75% of what the market's done since 1990. And the guy named the name of the piece was most stocks are not good. And it's true. Most stocks are not good. And even the good ones inevitably have a shelf life, right? Take a look at the Dow Jones from 50 years ago. Not the same companies. Bethlehem Steel doesn't exist. Westinghouse doesn't exist. So they keep the perpetual lie going of this market going up. It's because they're finagling the numbers. So it's a shell game. Most stocks stink, but the market seems to always go up. Don't you want to know more of how they do it? It's all smoke and mirrors. You know it. Most stocks stink. That's why when you have a CDLX and it's doing amazing things, This is where you can own stocks. Because CDLX, when I brought it to your attention at $5, it wasn't, hey, I like this company. I like, hey, CDLX is breaking 5. There's no resistance till 750. Then I said, hey, if it breaks 750, there's really no resistance to about 12 and change. And then it went there. And then I finally figured out what the hell CDLX is. I think they're a data analytics advertising company on the internet. Doesn't matter. I'm not interested in the sector. I don't care who the CEO is. And I don't really care what their earnings were. I was just hoping the stock wouldn't. Well, actually, I was out before the earnings came out, so I was kind of hoping it would go down, but this time it went up after the earnings, and it hasn't looked back. Unlike ENVX, which completely changed the posture of the stock after they reported. How you doing? Remember ENVX? Remember? In at 11 and 12, out at 17 and 20 and 22.50. And then we had the intraday earnings reversal, which changed the entire nature of ENVX and the market that day. ENVX earnings day was the reversal of the entire market. And look where it is now. Still basically $14. But now that's where you start looking at it again. These 10-point pullbacks on $20 stocks are phenomenal. Look at my list. Take a look. Even the Beyond Meat has become a buy down here. Obviously the HE. But more importantly, have a great weekend. Try to have some fun. Don't take any of this too seriously, because look, if you were taking it seriously, didn't you think the market was about to go down a little bit more? Really? Didn't you? You felt it. You're like, all right, the market's finally going down. All right, this could get ugly. And then what has it done? It's made it all back in what, 6 or 7 days. So that's how the market works also. It'll do something for a long period of time and then make it all back. Or it'll be going, everything's clicking, and give back a huge chunk. And then it builds from there and consolidates and all that shit. But, this is a nice, boring day. I didn't do much. It's kind of just staring at the screen. But Qs, Carvana, HE, and we had this company, Edible, which I assume, and again, I haven't looked at it yet. So Edible, EDBL. And you got to be kidding me, because once it broke 250, I was like, this stock's probably going to go to 420 because of the symbol, EDBL. Edible Garden. I don't think they do what you think they do. Let's see what they do. Edible Garden. Self-watering displays for supermarkets. Right. Edible Garden. Edible Garden Incorporated, together with subsidiaries, operate a controlled environment of agricultural supplies. It offers various packages. So they basically build you little mini greenhouses for your dill and basil and lettuce. Cool. So yeah, it's just a great market. It really is. It really is a great market. And speaking of VFS, that's what makes the market great again. When rational thought and true rationality come to the market, that's bullish as well. Irrational exuberance is fine, but you'd like to see some sort of reality once in a while show up. Like Nikola, going back to $1 and probably going to 0. AMC reverse split, stock went down another 50%. Those are what should happen. VFS, once they made it onto the TV, first they were talking about how it was worth more than GM and Ford. And then the next day they said, okay, now it's getting crazy. It's worth more than Boeing. And they kept giving you the list of stocks and companies that this worthless wannabe Tesla out of Vietnam company is. And it was just a matter of time. And you did get to 93. I figured at 93 you were going to see 120, because generally 80 gets you 120. But once you broke back under 80, bye-bye. And you know what? You couldn't even buy the $80 puts. When the stock started to fall, do you know how much the $80 puts were? I'll tell you, $43. $43 for the $80 put. Yeah, that's right. The put cost 50% of the value of the entire stock. That's insane. And after it fell 50 points, you know how much those $80 puts were? You were up $4. You had to lay out $43 to make $4. Yeah, it was a waste. But if you got a short off and a borrow, Trade Zero had it short, Lightspeed had it short yesterday, or you sold naked at the money calls, which took some balls, but that's just like shorting the stock. And don't forget about Rivian, people. If you get a chance to buy it under 20, it's been pretty good. Now that Palantir has fallen apart, I'm looking for Palantir at 1250. And I'm hoping that the market continues to do what it, quote unquote, should do, because September usually is negative. We made it through August. We had some selling. I think we'll have a kind of a replica in September that we had in August. September will be that's what I'm thinking. September will be a lot like August. We'll try to sell off, maybe test lows again, 357, and then we'll trap the shorts again, rally, break out, rip to all-time highs, and then everybody could just have a free-for-all when the Qs are at 690 and Tesla's at 1,000 again, doing a 15-for-1 split. Because look, there's nowhere else for the market to go. That's it. As much as you want to fight it, as much as you want to try to fight it, it doesn't go down. You understand, right? And that's what's so amazingly awesome about it. And that's why the Qs are always the best choice. If you're going to build a portfolio, it's a portfolio built for you. But here's the thing, y'all. Just remember, most stocks stink. So if you are building portfolios and you have some stocks that are winners, remember, sell your losers as soon as you start selling the winners too. Because if you only sell the winners, then you're left with the crappy stuff. And the crappy stuff, chances are, will get worse. And now that you've already sold your winners and you're left with the junk, and the junk gets worse, it eats away at what you did on the winning side. Dump it all like I did. I didn't care where these stocks were. I started just selling them. Didn't care what price they were. I wasn't looking at charts. I decided when I came back from Greece, I was gonna sell most of it. I started selling before that. Anybody that was reporting earnings, I didn't want to hold into earnings, and that was the way out. Saved me, again, the only stock that is up from the earnings reports are CDLX. Every one of these stocks has gone down. I mean, Affirm is back up now, but we just bought that. Affirm's looking great. He is looking great. Hawaiian Electric, still got that. I just bought a couple of calls. I'm not buying stock. If, again, if I'm wrong on the Rivian, I'm not buying $23,000 worth of the stock. I'm buying $600 worth of options. But I'm buying them out of the money, year and a half down the road, starts to get going, maybe I'll add to it. But, this is a typical day where I thought it was going to be boring. It's kind of boring. But if you focused your attention onto the stocks that we trade, you had CDLX, you had HE, you had Carvana, you had Affirm, you had the Qs. It's a pretty damn amazing day. It really, really is. So if you're out there struggling, I give 2-week trials. Just come and hang out with us. See what I do. I'd like to invite you to listen to my partner. He's even more articulate than I am. He really just talks charts. I tend to go on rants about stocks and people and blah, 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 blah. Shut up, Kenny. He's so damn focused. He is an algorithm. If you haven't met him, solid, you should meet him. And he'll also program your charts to pop off the screen, all the VWAP you need, all the different retracement levels. He's got it. He's got everything. So come and meet us. Meet us if you haven't met us yet. But for now, have a great weekend. Tell 10 friends. And I'll see you Tuesday morning, I guess. Rock and roll out there. Be good.